So a reason why we kind of walked away from the heavy back squats and deadlifting and pulling weight from the ground and things like that is because we seen through slow motion video that it affects the drive phase. It affects the way that we actually move through space, and it causes a lumbar compression. And and I'm just going to kind of give you a visual of that today of what it is. So on the one screen, you'll see the kid running through the gym, and you'll see pretty much he's pretty good, like almost flawless movement. But what we're looking at is we're watching how this hip area stays back as he goes through space. It stays behind the chest the whole time. So in what we see in the lift engine or in the heavy squat or in the deadlift or something like that is we'll see this pelvic tuck motion where the finish is here. So every rep, they're getting a thrust. So what's happening is the behavior is teaching the athlete or teaching the body, the nervous system, that when the hip's going forward, the chest is allowed to go back. Okay, so again, you're not seeing that in the actual run gait. You'll see the glute drive the chest the whole time. That's forward locomotors. It's the crawling phase and all of that. So remove this squat, and then we'll put in a deadlift, and we'll see the same behavior happen in the deadlift. So you'll see this at the end, the thrust comes through, chest is going backwards, hips are coming forward, and there's a slight pelvic tuck, and you'll see, right? You'll see the feet come off the ground. You'll see that the foot's coming off the ground and the weight's being driven into the heels. That's not how athletes play on the field. So we're neurologically programming something that's not going to happen, right? That again, balls of the feet, heel never takes any load, hip stays back, butt stays back. So yesterday, what sparked this whole thing is there was a video that's gone viral of this little baby, right? And this little baby's doing this lift, and we're going to kind of start that from the beginning, and I want to show you what happens. So he's going to try to pull this weight from the ground, right? And this is an instinct, innate behavior, how this pattern could change. So you could tell he's struggling with it. You could see in his face, you could see the heavy ball, and then you could see what we're talking about is that pelvic tucking, the compression in the lumbar spine. And then when we see he goes up, he can't finish. He's tucking the pelvis to try to get the weight under. We see this in every heavy lift, right? Now, that's not what's happening on this side over here on the back. So when we go and we see this, he goes through a couple of times. He tries again. Rep number 2, he fails. He pelvic tucking, he can't get it. He's struggling. And then he puts the weight down. He goes one more time and he quits. And then what we're going to see is his hips are going to go forward. He's going to get stuck in his front chain. And then you'll see that behavior of that thrust. And that soon at that age, that behavior could be implemented into the body. Now, everybody's fascinated at what? They fascinated by this number right here. 15 pounds at 1 year old. And that's the problem is that the weight training, and listen, we're not against weight training. We're not against Olympic lifting. We're not against CrossFit. We're not against anything that is what you love to do or is your modality of training or whatever you want to do. It's up to you completely. But if you're training athletes, you want that athlete to be in that drive gear at all times. You want them to be playing on the balls of their feet. You don't want to put them on their heels. You don't want to accept force onto the heels, because that's where we see the Achilles shred. We see the heel get loaded, the inner ankle bone, your medial malleolus collapses, and then you see the non-contact catastrophic injury. So that's basically what I wanted to touch on a little bit today, to just show you those 3 phases. It could happen at any age. You've seen a female athlete, you've seen a male athlete, and you've seen a baby, and you could see how that pattern could be embedded. Once that hip starts to thrust forward and that chest goes back, that rotation that you see in the hip on the first athlete that we showed you running through the gym, you can't do that. You can't rotate like that no more. So it puts the hamstrings at risk because you're creating a reverse movement pattern. That's not how we design to move through space. So this is Coach Gary, GLS Training, Go to Movement Systems. Peace.